special guest, Mark Schiefelbein. This is the face that knows where all the bodies are buried. Everybody likes Sheaf. When you find out that Reggie is coming to the Packers, what was that impact like?
We were actually at these PR meetings in Atlanta. I remember the night because it was the night that North Carolina played Michigan in the NCAA final when Chris Webber called the timeout that they didn't have. I always remember that. All of a sudden there was rumors going around that between San Francisco and Green Bay for Reggie White. You're just like, wow, because we had never been in that conversation in a long time. Ron Wolf told me one time, he said, Mike Holmgren and Bill Parcells are the only two guys that I know that can watch film one time, immediately know how to attack.
What was your title then?
The title there was like VP of Football Operations. Now people thought, no, you know what though?
Got a parking spot.
Hey, he got a parking spot.
Oh, for sure.
We play a game in Cleveland. This is the old Cleveland. And we're down there. Did you ever play the old Cleveland Stadium?
Yes.
We're down at the end.
Been in Chesapeake.
And of course, Forrest had some history with Cleveland too, back when he played. And so there was a little hate. We're down in the dog pound in warming up. Them dudes throwing batteries and stuff at us. We couldn't even warm up.
When Gary called me, he goes, "Hey, Chief, he said we had Mark Murphy on last week." I said, "You're going from Mark Murphy to Mark Schiefelbein."
Oh, come on, man.
I said, "It's quite a drop."
You're what you call family. Welcome to the Elite 36 podcast. We got another special guest, but before I get into our special guest, I'm Leroy Butler, and this is Gary Ellerson. Now, this is not the same shirt from last week when Gary had the Alumni shirt. They give us multiple shirts. I think.
Well, it could be the same shirt. I do have.
Damn.
I do have a laundromat at my house, so I can wash it and we wear it.
You got an entire laundromat?
Yeah.
Not a wash and dry?
No, laundromat, Leroy. I'm investing.
You got a counter where you fold the clothes?
Yes.
Rich
I'm
folk.
investing, Leroy.
Let me hold some.
Yeah, let me hold something.
I'm gonna break y'all something today. Leroy, real quick though, where we at?
We at Potawatomi, man.
Potawatomi what?
Well, you got to have money to bet, right? I mean, first, right? Unless you have some friends with 800 credit score. But here, they can make you a millionaire. 'Cause I saw on that boy, I'm a bird.
You're a big bird.
I see money, I just stop.
Yeah.
I saw the jackpot is $4 million.
Yes, sir. You want some of that?
I got a ruby card, I think. I don't know. My card red.
Yeah.
I got to talk to Louise. They got to upgrade me. Whatever the bottom
Who is
is.
Louise?
That's my guy.
Maybe we could all pool together and get a better card.
Yeah, I got to get it. But we're coming up here, and you see one of the biggest screens you've ever seen, every sport up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
we're
amazing.
Yeah.
Sports book, amazing, man.
Yeah. So we're at Potawatomi Hotel and Casino.
Yes.
Casino Hotel. Depends on what you want to do first.
If you're engaged, it's a hotel.
Thank you.
If you're married and want to get away from kids, it's a motel. Hotel, holiday.
When does the casino come in?
Well,
Okay, fine.
the casino is when you're with your wife.
Okay, fine.
Jackpot.
Fine.
Especially if it's Friday.
Fine. And we got a good friend.
Well, which one is that?
That's Jake.
It's Jake.
Are you sure?
Still
Yeah.
is. Yeah. Got trimmed up a little bit since last week, but we're good.
Yeah.
Did you get bullied into trimming your
No.
beard?
No. You just got to keep it clean.
I mean, you're in a safe space.
That's Jake Palyubicki.
Yes, sir.
If you didn't know his last
He's
name.
never getting married with that last
Yeah,
name.
Jake Palyubicki. And Mario, the best doggone producer in the whole wide world. And you want to introduce our...
Well, this next guy with his last name, he's never getting married. He got
I bet you know how to pronounce his last name.
27 letters.
No, he's got a lot of vowels in there, Leroy.
Yes. Mark Schiefelbein. Now, the reason why
Good job.
we wanted you on, America, this is the face that knows where all the bodies are buried. Every rumor, because he's been there, 20 years. It's like an intern from Oshkosh, UW Oshkosh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody likes Sheaf. We call him Sheaf. I'm from Florida. I can't pronounce Schiefelbein. Sheaf, thanks for coming, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
People love this guy. They create positions for him. I never heard his. If you read through his bio, what the hell is that? Mark, I'm gonna sign you. What I'm doing, Coach, it don't matter. Just get on the plane, and we're gonna make you a millionaire. Goddamn, God is good, right?
All the time.
But before we get started, it's somebody I really wanted to ask you about.
Okay.
Lee Remmel, to me, was a special person.
Mm-hmm.
There's two people, I told Gary this before.
Yeah, oh yeah.
There's two people, if I had money, that I would build them a statue, a road, or something that was a big part of me. Bob Harlan
Yeah.
and Lee Remmel. Lee Remmel is the reason why, well, Gary hired me in radio,
Okay.
but he just taught me about the media, Lee Remmel. So when you were intern, I think 89,
89.
how did that work?
I was going to school in Oshkosh, and a friend of mine was doing a paper on Lee Remmel. And he said, hey, you want to ride along with me? I said, yeah. Because I was telling Gary before the show, I initially went to Oshkosh Communications to be a sportscaster. I love sports and want to be a sportscaster. So this guy was going to do a paper on Lee, asked me to come along. So I went along with him, and all of a sudden Lee was explaining all the things that public relations does behind the scenes and things. I thought, wow, that's what I would love to do that. So after the interview, I called him and I said, Mr. Remmel, would you guys need any help? I'll volunteer in the press box for a game. And that's when I did it in '89 when they played Madison. The Packers played a preseason game.
Yeah.
So I volunteered in the press box, and then next thing you know, they offered me an internship that year, and I was supposed to
Paid
graduate.
or unpaid?
Unpaid. Unpaid internship. And you know what?
WTF?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's how it
unpaid,
goes.
and I was set to graduate that year at Oshkosh that semester. So I postponed all my classes. I had my lease, so I would get up in the morning every morning early. And back then, you had to wear a coat and tie.
Oh
yeah.
And I would drive back and forth from Oshkosh to Green Bay every day. And I didn't have a key at first, so I get there. My dad always said, "Get there early." I get there early and wait out in the parking lot till somebody was going in. Pretty soon they gave me a key, so that's kind of how it started. And people thought it was crazy because you weren't getting paid. I would have paid them. I mean, it was just a great opportunity.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and Lee, to your point, Leroy, both those guys, Bob Harlan and Lee Remmel, two of the best people I've ever met, and two huge influences on my career.
Right, salt of the earth, because when I get drafted by the Green Bay Packers, Forrest Gregg wasn't the first voice I heard from the Packers. Gary Ellerson is Lee Remmel.
That's my guy, man.
Coach is on the line, he's going to hold. You'll talk to him. That's the first official voice that I heard from the Green Bay Packers. I'm sure for most guys who got drafted, I'm sure that's how it went. You hear Lee Remmel's voice first, and then came the head coach. Great representative of the organization. Obviously, you know, Chief, now is the press box? Mm-hmm. What's that, the media?
Yep, Lee Remmel press box, which and which is very appropriate because he was a great people person, as you guys know. Plus his memory. He was a historian. He covered the Packers back when Curly Lambeau was still coaching. And then he got hired, I think, in '74 when Dan Devine was coaching. So he's been there and experienced all that. We were remember when they do those fantasy camps, and they had all the Lombardi guys out on Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Lee and I are kind of standing off to the background, and Jerry Kramer's talking about the Ice Bowl drive, and he said, that's the greatest drive that Bart Starr ever engineered with 4:54 left on the clock. And Lee leaned over to me and goes, actually, it was 4:52. You know what I mean? So, Lee's memory was unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the players loved him, like you said, Leroy, the media did. He was just a special guy.
That's how I know Brett Favre's middle name.
Yeah. He always called everybody by their middle name.
Lorenzo Favre.
Yeah.
I didn't know your name, Lorenzo. How did you get a brother middle name, Brett?
He's from the South.
Yeah, but still.
He's from the South, Leroy.
How does Lee Remmel know that?
Yeah,
and Brett was like, how do you know that? He looked at everything. And so the transition happens in 90. Lindy Infante is the coach. Mm-hmm. My first year was 90. Now, when did they hire you? Was it 90 or 91 when they said you can start getting a check?
You know, it was like, so I interned in '89, and then in 1990 I got hired by Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers. So I was down there for 2 years.
That was paid, though, right?
That was paid.
Okay, that's when you started getting paid.
Why are you worried about people getting paid or not?
I told you I'm a bird. We want to know everything about our guests.
Who's getting paid?
So,
okay.
When you got to the Packers,
Well, I want to back up. Who was in Tampa, though? The head coach.
The head coach was Ray Perkins.
Ray Perkins.
For the first
came from Alabama.
12 games. Came from Alabama.
Yes.
Then he got, our owner was Hugh Culverhouse. He fired Ray, and then they hired Richard Williamson, who was a wide receiver coach.
Yes.
And then Richard got the job next year.
Yes.
And then they fired Richard at the end of the year and hired Sam Weish. I was there for about a month with Sam. He had just come from the Bengals.
Yes.
I was there for about a month with Sam when I got hired back at the Packers.
At 92?
In February of 92. Ironically,
who was the head coach in 92 of the Packers?
Mike Holmgren.
Mike.
Ironically, guys, back then organizations were so much smaller. So I was a young PR guy. They were doing a coaching search. They had me pick up coaches, and Jerry Angelo was our personnel guy who would be the GM of the Bears later.
Yeah.
Came to me. He goes, "Mark, what are you doing Friday night?" I said, "Nothing. What do you need?" He goes, "Can you pick up one of our coaching candidates at the airport?" I said, "Sure. Who is he?" He said, "Mike Holmgren." And I
didn't know that.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with Coach Holmgren, and that was pre 9/11. So you met him at the gate, and so I'm out there on a Friday night, and I pick up Coach, and I'm taking him around and taking him to his hotel, and then I picked him up the next morning, took him to Mr. Culverhouse's office, and then he starts asking me questions. Hey, where are you from? And I told him Wisconsin, and because back then that year he was kind of as Ron Wolf said, the belle of the ball. He had like 6 interviews. Everybody wanted him.
Oh yeah, because he was the coordinator.
Coordinated San Francisco.
And they won a Super Bowl.
So the Buccaneers interviewed him for a head coaching job?
Buccaneers interviewed him, and so I'm taking him back to the airport, and he starts asking me, and I said, well, I interned with the Green Bay Packers. He immediately looked, and he started asking me all kinds of questions about Green Bay, and I thought, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And then he got hired there, like 2 weeks later, and then
we paid him a lot of money.
Yeah, back then he made $295,000 back then, and I remember then because I went the Super Bowl that year was in Minneapolis. It was Washington against Buffalo, and I went there as young PR guys do to help out, and I run into him there, and I congratulated him, and he said thanks, and then a couple weeks later I got hired at the Packers, and I see him in the hallway, and he looks at me and goes, "Are you following me around?" And he laughed, and, but that's kind of how our relationship started. Yeah.
That is amazing.
This is such an amazing conversation.
That is amazing.
No, that was the connection.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now when the transition is really moving now, and you hear that Brett is getting traded for.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jeff Blum was another young man who would leave.
Yep.
I remember him telling me, you played against a guy, I forgot how he said it. You played against a guy that we may try to bring in. But remember now, Don Mikowski was the guy.
Right.
Mm-hmm. He was. He was a Pro Bowler in '89.
Your intern year.
Yes.
Yeah.
10-6.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, and that team, they went out to San Francisco that year and beat the Niners at Candlestick, and Montana was playing, and so yeah, Don was a guy, but he had gotten hurt. 90 or 90?
He hurt his shoulder, and then he had some other injuries.
Yeah.
We didn't have the best offensive line, but
don't talk about Ken Ruckers like that.
Hey man, Ken, my friend, man, don't do that, man. We'll edit that part out, Ken.
Like that, come on, Ruck.
So the Brett Favre trade was, you know what, Chief? I don't know. Had that happened now, that would be a big deal.
Oh,
give
absolutely.
up first-round pick for a third-string quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, it was, a couple years ago, they did a big story on that, ESPN.com did, and, Ron, when he made the trade, he waived the physical contingency on it because that's how bad he wanted Brett. And then, as you guys know, when he got here, the team physician failed him on the physical.
Yeah.
And Ron told me when the team physician, Ron hadn't been there that long. He'd only been there, a couple months?
Yeah, he just got
And
there.
he trades a number 1 pick for a guy that fails a physical, which means you can't get that number 1 pick back. And Ron said when the team doctor told him that, he shut the door. He was by himself. He said he got emotional, and he said he kind of had a moment. He thought, I'm done.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he said he kind of gathered himself, and I think he went back and said, you pass him on that physical. And, of course, they did, and he played,
because I think Brett had that car wreck. I believe he was in a car wreck, and they had
to take out his
intestines or something like that. I think that was part of the issue with him, but
something with an arthritic. I thought it was maybe a hip too or something. I wasn't quite sure, but obviously, it worked out well. But Ron showed me a card back then. Those cards you used to get in the store. They're longer, thinner cards that always kind of had some sort of smart remark in there. And Ron opened it up, and it was a middle finger, and it was from an attorney in Milwaukee. He never said who was saying, just ripping Ron for making that trade at the time.
Well, of course.
And Ron kept that for years. He kept that, just as,
Here's the thing that really was iconic to me. The discussion was with Bob Harlan. That's why I say he's the GOAT. So they have a conversation, and Ron said, I'm going to do this. And Bob was like, listen, you have full autonomy, all football operations.
Run through you.
Do it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Because if the boss is not with you, you can't really go with your gut. You know what I'm saying? So that was just paramount. So when Brett actually comes, the Reggie White thing, if that had happened now, in free agency the way it is, because the Michael Parsons thing was such an amazing thing.
Right.
When you find out that Reggie is coming to the Packers, what was that impact like for the media side?
Yeah, it was. You know what? We were actually at these PR meetings in Atlanta, Georgia, and I remember the night because it was the night that North Carolina played Michigan in the NCAA final when Chris Webber called the timeout that they didn't have. I always remember that. And there was all of a sudden there was rumors going around that between San Francisco and Green Bay for Reggie White. And you're just like, wow, because we had never been in that conversation in a long time. Since the '60s.
Smallest market, big market.
And the next morning then, I was on the phone with Bob Harlan, and Bob says to me, hey, we signed Reggie White. And I didn't believe him. I go, Bob, you're kidding me. And then he got Mike Reinfeldt on. Mike goes, we signed him. You guys got to get back here as soon as you can. So we hightailed it back. And, of course, to your point, Lee Remmel and Jeff Blum, they were my two bosses. So, so we all hightailed it back, and you just couldn't believe it. It's hard to explain to people now how big that was. It was huge for so many reasons, and you two know better than anyone. But it was such a big deal, and it was that was the lead story of the NFL.
But it wasn't free agency. Remember Plan B?
Right.
Oh yeah.
And that's what they did. You were talking about being big. That changed the course of really a player movement throughout the NFL. Because a lot of people don't know, before that, you could only play for one team. I mean, the owners had a monopoly on the players. They could just only stay there and not negotiate with the teams to drive their value up. Well, the Green Bay Packers and Reggie White changed all of that, which now you got guys making millions and millions and gazillions of dollars because of that.
Well, at that time, Big Dog contract was guaranteed. So shout out to Mike Reinfeldt.
Yes. Yeah. Mike was a very. You're right about Bob Harlan, by the way. He's the one that started the whole thing. And I always felt Mike was a very underrated key part because I think it was a 4-year, $17 million. And they had to have enough guaranteed money up front, and yet the Packers reserve wasn't what it is today.
That's right.
And Mike told me, and it's been well documented, he negotiated through the night with Jimmy Sexton, Reggie's agent.
Jimmy Sexton.
And I think Jimmy, if I remember right, was at that game maybe. But anyway, they did it through the night and got the deal done.
Yes.
And it was.
Reinfeldt did a couple of my contracts.
Did he?
Yeah, you don't need all that money now, Roy Lee. Put it up in the future. I said, you might.
True. Yeah.
I said, you're right. I want to be rich when I'm old, not when I'm young. So shout out to Mike Reinfeldt.
Yeah.
Because he had that tough guy look. I don't think he's ever smiled his whole life. He was a very good defensive back, too.
Yeah, he was all pro with the Houston Oilers.
Yeah,
He was,
really good.
Led the NFL in interceptions in 79 to 12 picks. And
So you got Reggie, and people see the transition now into back when Gary played in the 80s. I don't know what people thought, because
it was a stained organization back in the 80s. They had to overcome a lot of stuff. There was a lot of bad stuff happening, and there needed to be, I think the Lindy Infante hire was a good hire. I think it served its purpose of kind of moving forward. Mm-hmm. And then that came to an end, and it got even better with Mike Holmgren, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
Of course, the Packers is always stuck in history. You go back, it's it's about Bart Starr, obviously. You called him the universe.
Oh, he's definitely a universe. Everybody else is a planet.
And that was
the quarterbacks.
Right. That was, the Lombardi era, then Forrest Gregg, and they kind of stuck with what they knew. And then Bob Harling was around and all of that. He had the foresight to say, okay, it's not working the way we used to have it. We got to change it up. We got to do it different. The NFL is different.
Yes.
We got to have a GM, and he's got to have full control over everything he wants to do. You talk about Bob Harlan. I think the biggest thing with Bob Harlan, and you and I talked to him when we were on another radio show.
Yes.
And Bob had said to us in the interview that maybe it was the board or some people were saying, why are we trading for a quarterback that's not even playing?
Yeah.
And they didn't actually want to do the deal. Bob asked, so it goes, Ron to leave the room. And Bob says to the constituents in the room, if we don't allow this Ron to make this deal, we'll never ever get another guy qualified to do this in
100%.
Yeah, so y'all need to pipe down.
Brian Wolf was one of the up-and-coming goats at GM, man.
Right.
That's my guy. I'm biased, but it was awesome.
But the Packers were stuck in that.
Yes.
Bob brought them to a new place, is what I'm saying. That's how the Packers used to work. And Bob was here Judge Perrins, absolutely incredible. Judge Perrins was the guy when I was there, but they needed to move out of that situation and get into.
Every now and then you sound real intelligent.
Yeah, well, thank you, Lou.
Every now and then. The man got about 50 degrees.
Well, I went to Wisconsin.
I don't say that.
Yeah. But that's the story that we hear from Bob.
And you're 100% right, Gary. That's those stories that Gary just told, and what you're telling is the history of what people are going to see this part. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's why you were so important to be on the show.
Well, that's nice you say. When Gary told me, when Gary called me, he goes, "Hey, Chief, we had Mark Murphy on last week." I said, "You're going from Mark Murphy to Mark Schiefelbein." I said, quite a drop. I said, "It's quite a drop."
You're what you call family, and Mark is like one of the in-laws.
Well, I appreciate
that.
Yeah.
Don't say
Mark
that.
won't see this, will he?
Yeah, he will.
We'll edit that out. No, we love Mark Murphy.
Yeah.
We do more than
absolutely.
anything. Because the reason why we do love Mark Murphy, in all honesty, because me and Gary were saying, who's going to replace the GOAT, Bob Harlan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For what he did. Who's going to do that? Who would want to fill Bob Harlan's shoes? You got to get somebody that don't fill shoes, but bring their own.
Right.
And that's what Murphy was.
Yeah.
But back to the transition, because I want to go towards Super Bowl 31.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like, seeing the media, the marketing, and the fan base kind of feeling it in '95 when we went to Cowboys and lost? It wasn't my fault, though. I had nothing to do with it. But, because I remember Homer on the play.
Playmaker said you.
Playmaker, that's my.
You want me to look that up?
Yeah, Playmaker.
Yeah.
See what
Shout out to Michael Irvin,
you're the Playmaker, man.
I remember when we lost to Dallas, Homer was walking on the plane, and the plane you're supposed to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
Plane going up, He'd always come back and check on us after he's yelled at us. He said, next year we're going to win it. Because we didn't know how to beat a team like the Cowboys. They don't make no mistakes. We made too many mistakes.
Right.
He's on the plane as it's going up. We haven't got to 10,000 feet yet. That when you could.
So they told everybody bucket their seats, and Mike said,
Mike Walker.
Yeah, I ain't not bucketing.
I got to let these boys know that when we land, when you come back in training camp, we win the Super Bowl. That's when. What was that feeling like going into that '96 season?
It's exactly what you said, and you know that '95 was kind of in '94 a little bit, but you know prior to that Dallas game, remember probably the biggest win in years was going out to San Francisco and beating them and beating them handily. Then we come back, play Dallas, and people forget too. The Packers were up 27-24 going into the fourth quarter of that game. But what you started to see it a couple of years before, but now all of a sudden, cover of Sports Illustrated, it's about the Packers. You know, in '96. We're getting Summerall and Madden doing a lot of our games. We're getting the top announcers. We're getting, you know, all the national media coming in and wanting to do stories on everybody. So that's and the fan excitement. I think Tom Silverstein wrote, Spoon, who's a great writer, as you guys know.
I do a show with him. I make him famous on 5 questions with Roy Butler.
Spoon's the best. Spoon wrote an article not too long ago that talked about the '90s, and he said it was something to the effect of fandom that this state had never seen before. That '90s run, just, you know, because it had been so long, and it was the Packers and the tradition, and going, you know, all the way up through '95, '96, '97, and I think that's right on. I mean, it was just, there was a frenzy there, and I think a lot of that stuff, most of that stuff has laid the groundwork for what we see today, whether it's Lambeau Field, whether it's the fans, all the things, was the stuff that you guys did.
Hey, Gary, tell Mark the first time when you saw us practicing with Mike Holmgren and how you guys.
Well, I mean, because
with Forrest,
the landscape. I think the 49ers, to me, I thought changed the landscape.
They did.
How to treat players. Bill Walsh and them. Those guys had their own hotel room. I mean, they were so innovative of how players should be treated. I think in the early '80s, you know, you had Mike Ditka, you had Forrest Gregg. I mean, you had a lot of Chuck Noll. I mean, you had a lot of old school coaches. That did it a certain way for a long time. And about when Bill Walsh came in, and it kind of moved towards more, I would say, player friendly, and that they figured out that we don't have to have short yardage and goal line full pads on Friday.
No Oklahoma drills.
I mean, and I think, to me, I felt like San Francisco did that. Then I come up and watch you guys, because, you know, back then we still could, you know, former players still could come in and watch practice. I come up and watch you guys. Shoot, you guys were in shells on a Wednesday. Shells. And if one people know what shells are, you should make these little shoulder pads, but they really weren't shoulder pads.
Foam.
They were foam things.
We got tennis shoes on.
And they had shorts on, the green, gray shorts, turf shoes. I called Kenny Stills and said, man, you ain't going to believe what these guys are doing, man.
No tour days.
None of that.
Home at 6 o'clock with your family.
I said, you're not going to believe this. And part of that, I felt that's Mike Holmgren came from San Fran, and he kind of brought some of those ideas to Green Bay on how players should be treated. It was just different, but I mean, it worked out for the best. I mean, I think if you now when we look at players, it's even worse because these jokers don't even touch anybody anymore.
What?
No, they don't. They don't touch anybody anymore in practice. No, it's just a different game today than it was.
Well, y'all had joint practices back.
We did. So back when I played, we had what we called the Cheese League.
The Cheese League.
And I think New Orleans was like in lacrosse, and then the Bears were in Platteville. River Falls had
Chiefs, I think.
The Chiefs up in River Falls, and then we were in Green Bay, and so there are a number of teams that they used to make the circuit.
Yes.
So the joint practice is nothing new, But I guess in a sense it is around the league. But when they had the Cheese League here, we all traveled around and played each other.
What do you think when Mike rode the practice with the motorcycle and the glasses?
yeah. Jerry Parents taught him how to ride the motorcycle.
Jerry Parents out head of security.
Yes, yeah.
Love Jerry
Parents. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. When did he do that? Was that before a big
I was going
game?
in that transition.
Okay.
You know, and you can tell it was about the 96 season. Like, where's Coach at?
Yeah. And he'd do that sometimes on the road. He'd take, one time we were playing, it might have been San Francisco or Dallas. Might have been Dallas for the NFC Championship game, because we always had police escorts, and they got a Harley for him, and he rode in the
with his jacket on there.
Yeah.
No way.
He was amazing.
To the game?
No, this was to the hotel.
Okay.
To the hotel from the airport on the day before.
Oh.
So the media, I don't think they got that, but what they did get, he was a therapist, and he cared about his players outside the uniform, and he'd always say, "Go talk to Chief. Go talk to Jeff. Oh, wait, did you clear this with Lee?" "Yes, sir." I'll never forget. Yeah, because I had to do the Jim Rome show, and. Basically, he's asking, did you guys give me media training?
Right. So you don't say, you should say some stupid stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
Because they know you might say something.
That's when I found out what loquacious meant. Like, he's a very loquacious guy. I said, Lee, y'all got to deal with a lot of personalities. So the staff, the media, how does it work with requests when you get? Because when we do Madden and Summerall, they tell you these are the guys we want to talk to on Saturday. How does that work?
And Lee and Jeff always really dealt with the networks and did a great job with that. But you're right, for that they would come in because national TV is your greatest source of revenue. So whoever they wanted to talk to, we had to make sure we got them. So it was always like Leroy, Brett, Reggie, Mike Holmgren. It might be a coordinator like Fritz, and then you talked to him before, and then it was easy for a home game. But if you're on the road and people are going out, then I'd be staking out the lobby and grabbing guys and making sure that they're doing that.
Right.
But during the week, you had your normal media times, but then if we got national requests, a lot of those would go through Lee and Jeff, and then we'd meet and they'd say, hey, they want Leroy Butler, they want Gilbert Brown, they want Antonio, Brett, whatever. But then sometimes Coach would tell us, hey, let's be careful. Let's not push too much at one person. We're a team here. He wanted that, and as you guys know, he's a brilliant man, Mike Holmgren, in not just football. Ron Wolf told me one time, he said, Mike Holmgren and Bill Parcells are the only two guys that I know that can watch film one time and immediately know how to attack defense, and he said they're the only two guys I've ever seen that can do that. And Coach, he seemed to know every interview that was taking place. Because he'd say, hey, I saw this player said this, get him up here. So as you guys, I said he could have been a great detective because he knew everything. He did. And a lot of times he's asking you the question, he already knew what the answer was. So, but. Yeah, we'd get a lot of requests, and sometimes then you just had to say, hey, I'm sorry, we can't do it. You had to kind of filter those through, which is basically what our job was.
Right.
So when Holmgren is we kind of can see the writing. He's going to probably leave at some point. Super Bowl 32 happens. You can Google those results, by the way. I don't want to bring them up. But
nor should you.
Mike's going to Seattle. How does that affect you?
Well, personally, he was a huge mentor, and he and Mike Reinfeldt left. So that was a loss there. It was just, I think at looking back in the history of the Packers for the previous 30 years, most coaches got fired. Right? Now we got a guy that's leaving. He's successful, going to another place, and so that part was different.
Did he really want to be a GM too, or that was just a rumor?
I think he wanted. He always said he'd like to run his own team. So that was kind of the head coach GM. Really, in retrospect, though, you're not doing both jobs. You're in charge of both jobs. He coached, but then Ted Thompson went out there in 2000, and Ted did all the personnel stuff. You know, coach was in charge of it, had final say, but Ted and Mike Reinfeldt did the contracts, and Ted did all the, you know, the personnel stuff. So, and they went to a Super Bowl in 2005, so they had success out there. But, you know, you had a very successful coach that left, you know. Right. So, and then was that transition then with Ray, and then after that with Mike Sherman, as you know. So,
yeah, Mike Sherman, one of my favorite coaches.
Yeah. Well, I want to back up a little bit, but then how did it come to be? Mike walks into your office and says, "Hey, Chief, you gonna come with your boy or not?"
Well, he had
I'm getting nosy now, Leroy.
Well, that's all right. He had talked to me, but it didn't really work out for Seattle. Now later on with Cleveland, you know, it did. That would be a few years later.
Right. Yeah.
But you know, I'm from Wisconsin originally. Reedsburg, went to school at Oshkosh. You know, so I mean, to be at the Packers, and you know, it had to be a really good job to leave, and nothing really materialized. There was nothing offered. He always had kind of talked to me about that.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if it ever worked out, but that time it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because Mike, his run was amazing. That's why I think one day he will be in the Hall of Fame. When he gets to Cleveland, and then because he's dealing with owners now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Before Green Bay is like him and Ron Wolf. You're dealing with owners now. They can pay you what they want. You do what you want. So we go to Cleveland. Then I'm thinking, me and Gary, we were at some event when we saw you, and you came back, and
was it one of the Hall of Fame banquets? Maybe?
Yeah,
it had to be.
Yeah,
because you're in the Hall of Fame
board now. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Right.
Because he's walking around with his jacket on.
Oh, he's got.
No, I know. That's
yeah.
I was on it before, and then when I came back, they asked me back on. And you know, it's all about the history and tradition, which is great. So.
No, we appreciate that.
We're gonna get to Cleveland. How was Cleveland?
Yeah.
You know, Cleveland, it was great. I mean, people say, well, it didn't work out because we were there 3 years, and then our owner, Randy Lerner, sold the team to Jimmy Haslam, who's
That's right. Yes.
part owner of the Bucks now. Yeah. Jimmy, of course, brought in his own people, which we kind of knew. But you know what? For me, when Coach talked to me about it, and he was the president there, so he was like the Bob Harlan. It was an opportunity to go work for him again, which is first and foremost.
What was your title then?
The title there was like VP of Football Operations. Now, people thought, you know what, though? Some of my buddies thought I was...
Oh, that's a salary job, not an hourly job.
Yeah.
Definitely salary.
Hey.
Yeah.
He got a parking spot.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, though? My buddies back home, they thought, hey, are you running the draft? I said, no. I have nothing.
I was like, I'm running the draft.
Nothing to do with football.
I'm a bird. Yeah, I'm running. That's all me, cuz.
Jake, he got a parking spot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice shaded one, too.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed Cleveland. The city reminds me a lot of Milwaukee. The fans remind me of Packer fans. And obviously, I hope they don't
It sits
win.
on Lake Erie, right?
Right on Lake Erie.
Leroy knew that.
You know, obviously, I hope they don't win on Sunday, but those fans deserve a winner. They're passionate. And,
well, if you talk about history, though, right? But if you talk about history, Cleveland, Green Bay, because I can remember at some golf tournaments, and Ray Nitschke's talking about Jim Brown and how, you know, back then, how they used to go at it a lot. So their history is probably just as great as the Packers were back in the 60s.
Absolutely, Gary. Absolutely. Paul Brown, Jim Brown. You know, back in the 50s, I think they went to the championship game like 10 straight years. Otto Graham was a quarterback. I mean, they had Dante Lavelli. They had great players.
Gary, you played with Otto Graham.
I touched him a little bit, Leroy.
That's all right.
I folded my helmet up and put it in my back pocket.
Because I think they're going to do 85 years of the Dog Pound.
Yeah.
This week they play the Packers.
Those fans are rabid.
I told our players, do not do the leap. In the Dog Pound.
Don't do it in the Dog Pound.
We go. We'll get bit. We play a game in Cleveland. This is the old Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so we're in that, I don't know, was it Municipal Stadium? But it looks like Miller Park, kind of, sort of. And we're down there. Did you ever play the old Cleveland Stadium?
Yes.
We're down at the end.
Vinny Testaverde.
And of course, Forrest had some history with Cleveland too, because back when he played, and so there was a little hate. And so we're down in the dog pound end warming up. Them dudes throwing batteries and stuff at us. We couldn't even warm up. So, and I forget who the head coach was at Cleveland. Forrest walks down and says, "Hey, we can't warm up at our end. Can we warm up at your end?" And they say, "No, you can't warm up at our end. You got to stay your ass down there with the dog pound." So we kind of moved out a little bit just to get away from the batteries and the dog bones. So that before they moved, that place was crazy.
That's hilarious.
And then then obviously the team left to go to Baltimore.
Right.
So the stadium now that they built, the Browns want to do a new development out by their facility out in Brook Park. So they're trying to transition, kind of like you said the Packers did. And so, like I said, not this Sunday, but I wish them well. It was a great experience. I worked with a lot of different people from different teams, and you learn different ways of doing things. But Green Bay is special place.
Well, we're glad to have you back. I tell you.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back. It really is.
Yeah, we saw him at the Packer Hall of Fame dinner when Michael Parsons. Where were you standing when you heard that?
We were in 1919, the restaurant when that all came down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At first, we're like, no, this isn't true. This didn't happen.
Because I read you, you're like, I don't believe it.
Right.
So that, because it seemed like to me, the last 2 years, the Packers been the youngest team in the league.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys have grown up because it's on-the-job training. And Gary will tell you, one of the teams that really triggers me was Detroit. Beating Detroit, short week, playing the Commanders. It's a young team. Can you compare that energy? Because you were there when Brett was there, when Reggie. Can you compare that energy to say it was totally different?
And obviously, as you guys know, I'm retired now, so I'm not in the organization, but
Not just saying energy, because you're there. You was at the dinner. I mean,
you're around.
People in
around. I went to been to both games.
Was your phone blowing up?
When the Parsons thing went down. My phone was blowing up. I had like 20-some texts. People like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe it.
You didn't even know they still had your number.
Yeah.
I thought I deleted you.
Right.
Yeah. No, there's an excitement.
Yeah.
There's an excitement, and you guys know this better than I do because you played the game. But you can kind of feel it when it's hard to explain. It's like going into that '96 season, and they've started off 2-0 this year, and it's hard to compare anybody to that '96 team, which is one of the greatest teams of all time in NFL history.
Agreed.
By the way, first team since the merger in 1970, the AFL-NFL merger, to lead the league in scoring on offense and fewest points allowed on defense. So
And special teams.
Yeah, and special teams. Desmond Howard.
You got a little bit of Lee Rimmer in you.
Well, I remember that. That's a great team.
Yeah.
And and Brian Gutekunst, I don't know Coach LaFleur. I've met him a couple times, but I'm a big fan of Brian Gutekunst. He was a young scout. We were there, and Russ Ball, huge fan of his. And those three positions, as you guys know, the GM, head coach, and your cap guy, contract guy, they have to be in sync, and these guys
met
are.
Ed Policy yet?
Yeah, I've met Ed a couple times. Yeah, very impressed with him.
He's a lawyer too now.
He's a lawyer.
Free advice from Ed.
Ed, you can just tell. I don't know.
He's a football family guy.
Anyway, his dad Carmen. Yeah. And you can tell Ed when he does interviews. I mean, he's a polished guy. He knows what he's doing. So
everybody talks about Matt LaFleur's hair, but Ed Policy's hair is not strand. That's not a strand out of place, Leroy.
It's tight.
Yes. No, it's strand out of place.
Now, but it was kind of different.
Yeah.
When Murphy hired LaFleur, and because me and Gary was on the radio.
Yeah.
And people didn't like that. That it was
the hierarchy, so to speak. Because then Mark had a different way of doing things. So it's actually been very successful. How can you knock it? And then, Mark hired the coach, and a lot of, let's just say, media people weren't very happy that But people forget Mark Murphy played the game.
Right.
Because his career is so diverse.
Yes.
People forget that he was John Lynch before John Lynch was John Lynch.
Just at 6'4".
Right. You know what I mean?
And $2,500.
Right. So he's got a lot of knowledge in day-to-day operations, obviously, but also as a former player too, that a lot of people don't.
And both ways work.
Yeah, you're right. Either both ways work. Yeah. And I never got the impression, I was only there a few years and Mark was there before I went to Cleveland, but I never got the impression from Ted Thompson that Mark ever interfered. Yeah. He never said, no, you can't do that. I think he said, if Ted said, hey, this is what I want to do, I think Mark always blessed it.
And that's what Mark said here too. Yeah. So it's absolutely great.
And that's the thing that's so special about the Packers and their with no owner, because other places it's not like that. Sometimes the owner makes the call, or and you got to do what the owner wants, and that doesn't happen in Green Bay. And that's they let the football people be in charge of football.
And you should know that, by all means.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been there, right. Yeah.
You go to another place and you're just like, wow, it's a little different. It's a little different.
Right.
So what's next for Mark Schiefelbein?
You know what, guys? I moved back to Green Bay a couple of years ago. I was working as a sports agent with Bob Lamont out in Reno, Nevada. Bob represented Mike Holmgren back in the day, and he really kind of pioneered the coaching representation. I enjoyed that, but my dad was getting sick at the time. He's since passed away. I thought, you know what, I want to come back, spend time with him. So I did that. Dad passed away a couple years ago, but now I'm on a couple boards. I'm on the Packers Hall of Fame board. I'm on the UW Green Bay Phoenix Fund. That's their fundraising arm of their athletic department.
So you working with Murphy on that?
Yeah, I'm just on the board, but Mark's out there. Yeah. And I was on those boards before when I was in Green Bay, so it's nice to be involved again. Yeah. So you're involved a little bit with things, but not too much. Yeah. And so I'm basically retired. If I got something I was really interested in, would I listen? Sure. But I've been fortunate to work with great people, and
no, you're an asset.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just gotta say this. When you guys were there, you always talk about culture, and Green Bay has it. And you guys, Leroy, Brett, Reggie, and all, you guys were so good to all the support staff. All those players were. Gilbert, Free, Frankie, everybody was. And that's when you've got a great organization. And I think that's a lot of, what is a Packer player? Gary, you know that, even though you came in earlier than that. I mean, and that's why I think that sustained success is because of the types of players. Sure, they have to be great players, but the people that you are, how you treat other people. Mike Holmgren always used to tell me that those are the things that create a sustainable organization. You're not just winning games and 1 year and the next year you're not. I mean, it's having great people. We're all working together. We're all rowing in the same direction. If you have that, you got something going. And you guys were that way, Leroy. You guys treat us all very, very well. Very, very well.
Well, we appreciate you coming on here.
No, thank you.
It's amazing. I learned a lot, and I knew it.
I thought you knew it all.
No. Yeah. I like to think I knew it all.
Yeah.
Who you want to thank before we get out of here?
We got to talk. But obviously, Mark, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Seriously, I appreciate it. I know I talked to you at the dinner. Why you guys want me? Mark, come on, man.
Wow. No, I did. You know what, though? I told Gary, I remember when Gary played in Wisconsin. Yeah. Number 41.
Yeah, sure was.
Number 42 at Green Bay. So
that's the ultimate that played for Wisconsin and played for the Packers.
Not very many people.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. Great stories.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
We got to talk about our good friends down here over at Torzala's Brewery, and Jake Palubicki, you like that word, Leroy?
Quit saying the man government name, man.
Is here, and just the story with Torzala's, Chief is not aware. So Leroy and I, we lose a job that we really like in radio, and we weren't doing anything, or I wasn't doing anything. Leroy's calling me, bugging me, man, we should do a podcast. You should do a podcast. Got to do a podcast. I don't want to do a podcast.
You're a dinosaur.
I don't want to work anymore. I'm done. I don't want to work anymore. I'm done. So, long story short, we got together, ended up doing a podcast. That's how this thing all came about. Leroy and Mario was doing a podcast together at Mario's house. And so that's
one bedroom, everything.
Yeah,
one bedroom.
everything's just in one bedroom.
On the first floor.
Right, and then all of a sudden,
no windows or nothing.
Right, then we make this connection with Jake and Jeff Torzala. Well, his last name was not Torzala, but it's actually his brother-in-law. They're married to sisters, Renee and Trish.
Those are real superstars.
Like how I got up, town on us all together.
I'm proud of you.
And they own a brewing company in Bayview, on the south side, so to speak. And so we left Mario's basement and moved everything over to Torzala's Brewing Company.
I think they even stole one of Joe Thomas's chairs.
Yes.
They drugged that up there.
Yes. And so we did our podcast out of their brewing company. And then as our podcast grew, Potawatomi Hotel and Casino, or Potawatomi Casino Hotel, then took us on. And we go, you know what? The Torzala brothers got to come with us. We're doing a podcast. They're coming with us to do a podcast. And now we have...
Well, we do them in the off-season.
So in our off-season, we go back to...
Torzala. People in Wisconsin drink year-round.
Yeah, they don't.
They get that Brew 42 all the time.
They don't discriminate. So we came with a beer, Brew 42. So they've been our partners for a long time, and so it's family owned. They do all the brewing right there. And I always ask Jake, are you lifting? And Jake says,
lifting kegs.
That's right. Yeah.
Beer ain't light, that's for sure.
So what we got going on at Torzala's? I saw Jeff was you guys at Klondike, Clody or something? Where were you guys at?
Clody Park up in Whitefish Bay. We've been doing some beer gardens up there. It's been great,
nice.
Great community up there. You know, they've been really inviting. I mean, you show up there and you don't think anybody's going to show up. Next you see like droves of people with strollers coming up once they see craft beer and a food truck pop up. I mean, they come out of the woodwork. This weekend, we're up at Bayside, a little bit north of Clody Park. They're doing their big fall fest up there. We'll have our trailer, we'll have Brew 42 up there. They'll have activities for the kids and stuff. It's really neat to see these communities that are trying to do things, bring people together. You know, what better way to do it than with a beer in your hand, and you know, especially when we got Brew 42, because now it just starts the conversation like, oh, we know Gary, and then that's when the stories start coming out. That's the fun part.
Hopefully it's good stuff.
Oh yeah, all good stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
hopefully it's good stuff. Appreciate it.
Is that just Torzala?
We can thank Lake Ford and Lake Chevy. We could thank those people as well. Lake Ford, Lake Chevy, and as we were
glitching that day. He was glitching.
Our good friends over at Lake Ford, Lake Chevy, looking for a new or used vehicle.
Tyler, I don't even know why you're using this guy.
You check out our good friends over Lake Ford, Lake Chevy, South 27th Street. Matter of fact, and I've told you guys this story before. Lake Ford, Lake Chevy took me in about 30 years ago, and I'm still affiliated with them today. My son also works over at Lake Ford, Lake Chevy.
We're going to get Brock on here to talk fantasy
and Leroy,
football.
we can never forget, our good friend over at the Jewelry Center. If you're looking for a piece of jewelry.
Hey, man, listen. That's the only place I was going.
Leroy got a diamond ring from, and I'm still telling the story.
I got it from Claire's.
From the Jewelry Center.
Yet. I told her I went to the Jewelry Center.
And my pocket was bulging out, and it was not what you think it was. It was that big old diamond ring that was in my pocket that Leroy spent money for at the Jewelry Center. Check my good friends out at the Jewelry Center right there.
Dean Murray, man.
He's not necessarily the owner. Because everybody that don't work for him, they are a team, just like the Green Bay Packers,
That's
right?
A fact.
Mario, Jalisco's?
Yes, Jalisco's, yep. Jalisco's Cantina, 2018 South 1st Street. Best Mexican food out here.
Yeah, it is. Because you know I like the tacos. I like them fish tacos.
One thing I like about Jalisco's Cantina, they serve Brew 42 on tap.
Yes.
That's what you got to know about them. So if you're looking for a Brew 42, everybody's asking what's Brew 42, Brew 42. Well, Jalisco's Cantina's got it right over there. You can get it right there on tap. Those guys are absolutely incredible.
Get it with them 3 tacos. Oh, that mercy.
Yeah, the shrimp tacos are off the chain.
Oh, man, come on. Fire. F-I. Fire.
Almost forgot, tomorrow's Jeff's birthday.
Is it? Why is he here today?
Out. We got him brewing beer, man. Come on, we got stuff coming up.
On his birthday?
Well, no, that's why he's brewing today.
Brewing beer. Absolutely. Wow. Love that. So the Packers got Cleveland this upcoming week. Leroy, what do you think? Real quick.
Cleveland's a bad team. It's just Myles Garrett. Stop him. So now, because Holmgren would tell us this, don't read your clippings because you're going to be better than some teams. And he also would say some games you're going to say, man, we won that. We probably got away with it. Some games we gave it away. This team is building something because now you got all the headlines. And they're struggling, quarterback situation or whatever. But make no mistake about it, anytime Myles Garrett, who I think is just unblockable at times, he can wreck what you want to do. So that's the next 2 wins really are going to be very polarizing because you play the Cowboys next.
Yep.
And that's going to be all about Parsons. But stay focused, win this particular game by hook or crook. It don't matter. But defense wins championships. Mm-hmm. I've always said that. I want to thank a lot of people, but I'm going to cut this list down, Mario. Because we're only going to promote the people that done paid their invoice. If you ain't pay your invoice, we not doing that. Cause we got stuff to do.
I'll let you next time.
Visit Milwaukee.org. They paid their invoice. You go to visit Milwaukee.org, and then we have something on there called Ask Leroy. Go on there. You can ask me anything about Milwaukee, and I'll point you to the best restaurants and great things to do here in Milwaukee. If you got a convention coming, the Beer Center is second to none. Mm-hmm. And Tortitas chips, they got some chips now. They have, if you look at them at the Pick and Save,
I saw you jumping in the stands with chip, Leroy.
They got the package.
Did you see that yet on the commercial?
I haven't seen that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll see it, man. They bought a lot.
They're about 2.5 seconds, but they got it. How much they pay you for that?
5 seconds.
How much they pay you for that?
Man, my wife watch. You can't ask me that. That's the money you hire for your wife, and then her friends say, he got that residual money. No, that's the Chris Brown song, right?
No, it's Chris.
Yeah, Chris Brown. I love that song, Residual. But get that bag, and if you see me at any Pick and Save, I'll sign it for you. And you can find out which Pick and Save I'm going to be at Instagram, Leap3636, or you can go to LeroyButlerInc.com. And again, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. We'll see y'all next week. I want to thank Schiefelbein again.
Yes.
That was very good. And
thank you.
What is it? Red Planet? What's your thing?
Yeah, Red Planet Works.
Red Planet? Yes. Because people, he do podcasts for you, set up for you, and stuff like that. And my guy, True Blood, I think True Blood a vampire, man. This guy does not age at all.
He doesn't.
So can somebody get me a mirror and put it up? Because they say no reflection, right? Yeah. Okay. See y'all next week.
Good night.